us for Xanax. Something that has given me a lot of anxiety throughout my childhood is, well, in Jewish culture, and I'm Jewish as previously stated, is that from the time we are born, pretty much, we are told that the goal in life is to marry a Jewish doctor. They can't be Jewish or doctor, they have to be Jewish and doctor. And it was a real surprise for my parents when I only met one of the requirements. I'm with someone who's a doctor, but not Jewish. And yes, they're a little funny about that. Like whenever my mom comes to the city, she's like, so Dan, have you been meeting any nice Jewish boys lately? And I'm like, Mom, I've been in a committed relationship for the past 2 years, so no, I have not been meeting any nice Jewish boys. And I remember the first time I mentioned my boyfriend to my parents. I'm like, guess what? I just met this new person. He's great. He's so sweet and loving and funny, and also a plus, he's in medical school. Well, completely glossing over that, my mom's like, but is he Jewish? And I'm like, no, he's Indian. And she's like, oh, so he's an Indian Jew. Oh, well, that's wonderful, because I just saw this great documentary called Shalom Bollywood, where it talks about Jews in India. Mazel tov. My mom really needs to focus on her own love life. She should probably start talking to my dad about it. I asked her, I'm like, oh, Mom, do you still feel romantic or that, will they, won't they, kind of romantic energy with Dad? And she's like, well, it's more like we had and we're just tired now energy. So they haven't. Whenever I go on a date, my mom, she always wants to know the details from the date rather than what I'm doing. I went to the movies with my boyfriend. She didn't ask me how was the movie or did you like it, but rather things like, oh, did he kiss you? Did he caress the small of your back? Did he talk about converting? Mom, I know you're married, but you really need to find your own boyfriend. I say that to her. Speaking of parents, why is it that parents sometimes brag about their kids a little too much, especially for those whose kids are in medical school? I overheard these parents talking about their kids. One was oh, my son graduated from medical school in 3 years. The other one's like, oh, that's cute. My daughter graduated while she was still in high school. And then the other one's like, well, my son graduated while he was a fetus and he performed his own delivery. Sometimes I think they're lying. Yeah, crazy. With all this talk of doctors, you may be wondering, why is it so important in the Jewish culture to be a doctor? Well, when the sperm and the egg meet, there's obviously controversy for when life is considered to begin. But in Jewish culture, a fetus is not considered a living person until after it gets into medical school. That's why. Just back to bragging. I've also noticed that people love to talk, insert their career or where they went to school, even when it's not relevant to the conversation. I feel like maybe some of you experience or do that yourself here. I had a voice teacher, and every other sentence she would say how her daughters went to an Ivy League. She would be like, sing from your diaphragm, which is what my daughters learned in their anatomy class at Princeton. No one cares. Yeah, what else? Yeah, so that's crazy. Something not to brag about is, some of you may or may not know this, but there is a tax on tampons, pads, and other menstrual products. Why? Because it is considered a luxury item. What do they expect me to be like? I'll have 2 boxes of pads and a bottle of Chardonnay. I'm so rich. I hope they're going to serve pads on my private jet on the way to my private island. Money. Love money. Yeah. Something not. My boyfriend, he told me, he brags a little, he told me that he volunteered at a retirement home recently and said how one of the female residents was kind of flirting with him. And I was like, come on, how do you know that? He he's like, well, she said to me, "You look like my third husband, and I've only been married twice." I have competition, guys. On another note, has anyone here done any online shopping at all? Yeah, I love online shopping. Well, sometimes I feel a little bullied by the online subscription pop-ups. Like obviously, you know, the subscription pop-ups where it asks for your email and you give it in exchange for discounts. But then there's also the no thanks box you have to click to opt out. Well, some of those have been, I noticed, are kind of mean. Or like I said, I feel like they're like bullying me. Like they're mean girls in high school. One of them was like, "I don't want free stuff. I'm a loser." Another was like, "No thanks. I don't have any friends." Another was like, "I don't want a discount. This is why my boyfriend left me." How did they know that?